Is Hollywood just out of ideas? Why are there so many remakes and sequels, but nothing new?
Yes, that is what I just asked you. Why are you repeating me?
Disney's out to redo every animation it's ever done as live action.
Pretty much.
And CGI, which somehow counts. Can we all agree that the Lion King remake isn't live action?
Yeah, and most of the Jungle Book remake too.
And while I love the idea of adding diversity to our world of stories, I don't love the idea of endlessly replacing what we've made before, rather than making new things for us to fall in love with.
Exactly. They make nothing new, just keep redoing the classics, just worse.
Lilo and Stitch got the most recent live-action treatment, and
Don't even get me started on that. Lilo and Stitch is my favorite Disney movie, and they ruined it.
while I haven't seen the movie myself in theaters, I have it on pretty good authority that as a huge Lilo and Stitch fan, I am better off sitting this one out.
Oh, that is putting it nicely.
While I'm sure it's beautiful, like most other Disney movies,
Clearly you haven't seen the live-action Little Mermaid, where Under the Sea is as undersaturated as Twilight, the movies.
and while the soundtrack in the trailer sounded incredibly nostalgic, I know its treatment of the characters in the main theme of Ohana doesn't line up with the original. And quite frankly, even if it didn't make changes to the story, I don't think a remake of Lilo and Stitch ever could have lived up to the original. The original was cool because it was different from so many other Disney movies. It was weird and wore that on its sleeve. It was a complete surprise that you can't intentionally manufacture. And Lilo and Stitch original production was so interesting that I could make a whole video another time, just from the way it was made.
Then why are we making this video? Let's just go make that instead.
A lot of love and inspiration was put into the original Lilo and Stitch movie that I just don't think can happen in a movie meant to copy it in live action and CG. And that's not even a dig specifically at this one specific Disney remake. I can say that about just about any of them. Peter Pan, Snow White, Pinocchio, The Little Mermaid, and so many others were redone by Disney and just didn't measure up to the originals. They were colorful, ambitious in its own creation, and just ended up being ultimately forgettable.
Wait, they did Peter Pan?
Yeah, I only know about that because I'm a huge Peter Pan fan. And I didn't even watch that one either.
Yeah, well, there's already good live-action Peter Pan movies out there. Go watch Hook instead.
I did, however, watch the remake of Beauty and the Beast. And while Emma Watson is a great actress, the movie never could have lived up to the expectations. And frankly, as an animation nerd, I find it insulting that Disney, one of the leading animation companies, is so hell-bent on recreating every animated movie that it thinks is profitable as live action, as if animated original movies aren't worthy of standing on their own, or more likely, they don't want to take the risk of creating something original that people may not like and invest their money in. Disney is oddly self-conscious about that. It's not their first time doing almost exactly this, being so attached to its pre-made properties and too afraid to make something completely new. I was a kid in the 90s and the early 2000s, where it seemed like all Disney could do was sequels. Cinderella, Lion King, The Little Mermaid. To be fair, some of these sequels lived up to the hype, while others were big letdowns, undermine the original, and should be forgotten with time, while others were just okay. I mean, heck, speaking of Peter Pan, the Disney sequel with Jane will always be special to me, and I will forever be a defender of Lion King 2, but Mulan 2 can fade with time, never to cast a shadow on its original again.
Well, that's a little dramatic. First one was better, though.
These days, Pixar seems to be doing the exact same thing, only making sequel after sequel of their most popular movies. Toy Story has ended multiple times now, but somehow we're still getting more sequels.
Yeah, what are we even up to now? 5? And I only watched the first 2 more than once.
It's not even only Disney doing this. It seems to be an industry-wide phenomenon to just continuously remake movies that have done well in the past. We're getting another Carrie.
Another Carrie?
I'm all for Stephen King classic guys, but he has other books worthy of adaptations. And, frankly, other writers just as good. Do we need to keep remaking this one? Even if it is good, we can just watch the ones we have already.
Yeah, we have Carrie at home.
So why does this keep happening?
I have no idea. That's what started all this.
First, we need a quick little business lesson.
Excuse you?
Ever heard of an IP before?
Only as a prank on tenant sheets. IP freely?
An IP, or intellectual property, isn't the most creative term in the world, and and it doesn't exactly inspire curiosity or originality, but it matters a lot to the people funding and greenlighting movies and TV shows. IP refers to the creation of the mind, like stories, art, games, inventions, and brands, or what we in the creative world call ideas, that are legally protected. An IP that is well known, like Lilo and Stitch, is marketable through recognizability. I recently went to a carnival where my friend won a Stitch stuffed animal and gave it to me because we both love Lilo and Stitch. We chose it over countless other random teddy bears in a claw machine that didn't catch our eye because they're not attached to an IP we know. That is the power of recognizability.
Also, Stitch is cute and fluffy.
True, but that's a whole other video topic I can get into about cuteness and characters making them popular.
So many other video ideas, and yet here we are, making this one.
We all know and love Toy Story.
Perhaps a little less with each sequel, but yes.
That name recognition all but guarantees sales for movie tickets, for sequels, although maybe not spin-offs, as it turns out. Lightyear kind of flopped, and almost more importantly, merchandise. Merchandise sales seem to somehow dictate the survivability of any IP. That's where a huge amount of the profits come from. If you're wondering why your favorite childhood IP died out, lack of merchandise sales probably has something to do with it. There is a reason Rugrats merchandise seemed to take over the world while it was at the peak of its popularity.
Rugrats Take Paris was nothing compared to Rugrats Take Toys R Us. Wow, that's an old-sounding statement.
The show was doing great. The products were flying off the shelves, and the show had enough money flowing in that it lasted a lot longer than other shows of its time.
Well, except SpongeBob, but he has enough merchandise to circle the globe multiple times. So I see your point.
No joke, my friend won herself a Reptar stuffed animal at the carnival, and a rainbow SpongeBob the year before that. Who knew our local carnival was so useful for market research? But back to IP recognizability.
Oh yes, of course, the part we were all excited about.
In business, if an IP has a track record of sales, it's a safe bet to invest more into. To make a spin-off show, a remake, a sequel, a novel series, a game, whatever. While something entirely new, even if it isn't super unique in concept, it's a financial risk, because it's unknown how well it'll do when it's put out into the world. We don't know if it'll make back the money to justify making it in the first place. People won't already have warm, fuzzy feelings about it when they hear the name. So marketing has to convince people to come see it. Marketing can make or break a reputation for a movie or franchise. And I will get more into that later.
Wow, business terms and marketing? You spoil us.
I'm not a business person, which by now I'm sure is abundantly clear.
Yep.
I'm a creative. I make stories, ideas, and characters that no one has ever heard of yet. I'm not the owner of well-known IP. So, all this feels pretty limiting and bleak. How do I break into the industry with my original ideas and stories if it feels like no one is willing to take financial risks for an unknown IP? And how do I help other artists get their original ideas out there instead of having nothing but unoriginal ideas being recycled indefinitely? I'm sure a lot of you are in the same boat right now, or just want to find something new to support.
I, for one, just want cool things to go see.
We can probably never fully get rid of remakes and sequels, but that's okay. That isn't the real problem. And they legitimately can be worthwhile some of the time, when it's not so oversaturated like it is right now. The problem is the real financial risk people feel about putting original ideas out there. I mean, I grew up on the Lindsay Lohan version of Parent Trap, and that's a remake of a movie from the 60s. Both can coexist. Things like this are not the enemy, but when they're being made instead of new things, instead of alongside them, that's when it gets to be a little disheartening. New IP are, more often than anything else, going to fail at the box office, on merchandise sales, and in the potential, though much smaller now, sales of physical media, which used to be a huge factor in how well things would do. That was how cult classics get a second life after not doing well in the theaters. They get noticed by the right audience as physical media, or now get discovered on a streaming network, sometimes years after being released, and pick up steam that way. Unknown ideas, though, are untested, so not only are investors and production companies like Disney less likely to pick these up, but when they do get made, they don't sell as well. We are in an economy that makes us all double think things before we buy something for fun. We all love our little treats, but we feel a little more guilty about it these days. So we want to put our dollar towards something we know will feel worth it. Or we fear investing our time in something that might not work out. Something boring or not our taste, which leads to less attention on things we don't recognize. Because what if it's not amazing? A lot of us will pass up a new unknown movie to watch something we have nostalgia for. I mean, there was a lot of talk about live-action Snow White movie when we all could have been watching Mickey 17 or Death of Unicorn in theaters at the same time, and companies bank on that choice. As creatives, this really works against us. One of the best things we can do for each other, and for the future of creative industries, is to invest time in watching things we've never heard of.
Hear that, guys? Go hear about things you didn't hear about. Great advice, am I right?
Seek them out. There's still really cool original things being made today. Some are hitting theaters in limited runs, like Bottoms did in 2023. Others are independent and a little harder to hear about, but are not that hard to go watch on the right website, or require a little more digging than just what we hear about in ads and banner images. If we create enough love and demand for something, it's a lot more likely that more will get made, and send a message to the people who make the bigger budget movies, that those are worth watching. Another thing we can do for each other in our own projects is to learn a thing or two about marketing.
Here we go.
Please don't tune out. I know it sounds boring, but actually marketing is what makes or breaks so many creative ideas in terms of reaching the right people. The wrong marketing can bring the wrong people and completely tank the sales and attention on a really great movie, show, or project.
Wrong people? I thought the goal was more people.
Well, yes and no. One of the best examples of this is Jennifer's Body. Jennifer's Body was a horror comedy by the same creator as Juno, but based on its original marketing campaign, you'd never know that was the tone of the movie. Instead, it really focused on the idea of Megan Fox being hot, and tried to get young men to come see the movie for a hot movie, which it's not. The movie wasn't meant for that audience, and predictably, they hated it. It's a movie meant for a completely different audience, so it flopped when it was in the theaters. Luckily, it found a second life in physical media and online when the right people finally did find it. They found its ironic humor and commentary on female friendships and loved it. All that could have been different if it was marketed to the right people in the first place. Not to mention, there are so many stories that are amazing, but you and I have never heard of them because they had little to no marketing at all. Like so many things that came from Netflix that just wasn't getting promoted, because it was up against so many other things, also on Netflix at the same time, and it never got much attention, and likely resulted in Netflix thinking it failed, so they should not give it more seasons. I'm not okay, because I'm not okay with this, won't be getting another season. It's been years, but I'm still not okay. Marketing is all about finding your people, the people who would enjoy your work the most, and getting them excited about it. Here on YouTube, we know there's an audience for just about anything. It's just a matter of finding the right people, the right audience, your people and mine. Marketing in a smart way, in a fun, accurate way, should at least in theory, bring us together.
And how are people supposed to do that, oh wise one?
If you have a burning idea inside of you, and fear it'll never be seen, focus on how you want to make people feel, and who you want to reach. Bake that into your story. Treat how you promote your story the same way. You can grow something from that. When you're feeling hopeless about the state of creativity, remember that feeling. Every small independent creator has that same feeling. Go give them your attention. Be willing to seek the unknown. Buy a movie ticket to something you barely know anything about, and be willing to either love it or find out maybe it wasn't for you. But at least you weren't bored by something you've seen a million times. Try more weird things and seek out new things. It's no fun to think about creativity as a product. A lot of people are already doing that, and that's how we got here. If you want an original creative revolution for yourself, your friends, and for the rest of the people out there like us, we need to promote the creative stuff that's already out there. Vote with your dollar and attention. Trends can make a world of difference in creative industries. Let's make the new trend watching independent, lesser-known original stuff. Heck, it's already starting. Independent animation is booming lately. Ever heard of Digital Circus?
Well, obviously. I'm pretty sure everyone has by now, with the millions of views it got.
It also somehow heavily was featured at the Carnival I went to, which is wild to think about. And it was an indie animation project. It's all out there. You just need to do a little extra footwork to find it. Not all of it blows up, as big as that, but it's still worth finding. Add yourself to independent production mailing lists like A24. Go follow your favorite artists online and see what they're working on, like Dana Terrace, and who they're friends with. Find projects to back on Patreon, or just skim through movies in theaters that maybe you haven't heard about and give it a chance. If we do this enough, maybe one day soon, it'll be mainstream enough to want something new, more than the old safe bets, that it'll be in more regular rotation. The more big companies will be willing to try it again, because it won't feel like such a risk. Let's be the creative revolution we all want to see so badly. We can live in a world of sequels and remakes and still find and boost original stuff. It can make a world of difference when we all do that. If you're a storyteller yourself, it's not hopeless. It's always worth it to try and get your imagination out to those people, because we all want to find those stories made by each other.
Yet another pep talk, born from a simple question.
Yeah, but I did answer your question though, in 20 minutes or less, as promised.
Yeah, but now I want to go make videos on the other stuff you brought up.
I can do that, and have a lot of other ideas like that. So, if you want to see those and a lot more, subscribe, so you can hear me rant about other things like this in the future. It'll be fun. I talk a lot about pop culture, art, and writing in this channel. Until then, I'll see you in the next one.
Bye, guys.